Good morning. It is Friday. It's Friday. It's 10:30. It's CEO Chat. This is Joe Wasserman.
And that's Al Cine. Hello, Al.
It's good to see you,
buddy.
Joe.
Yep.
But as usual, better than either of us is our guest, Jonathan Rosen, who is the founder, conceiver, owner of this terrific networking system called Collaberex. And I've known Jonathan for a couple of years.
Okay.
And I can't tell you what a privilege it is to get his ideas in front of our audience. So,
Welcome.
yeah,
Welcome.
absolutely.
Welcome.
Jonathan.
Thank you for having me. It's wonderful.
Okay, now I know that Collaberex was born from frustrations you had with traditional networking models. Why don't you talk about that, and then we can talk about how Collaberex is different.
Okay, well, there are a lot of traditional networking models out there, and they're all the same. And they don't work. They work for a few people, or they might work, but it's not likely that they're going to work for a lot of people. And the reason is because they are composed of random groups of non-competing professionals. So if you go into a random group of people, I don't know what makes people think that those are going to be the best people for them. People join networking groups because they want to grow their client base. They think they're going to get high quality referrals.
Right.
But if you meet a random group of people, you might as well be walking down Fifth Avenue in New York City and just approach people in the street. It's the same thing. I don't know why people think that those people in those groups are going to know the decision makers you're looking to meet. They might, you can get lucky. You could be in a group and you could be sitting next to a great chiropractor, and they might be great at fixing your back, but the likelihood of that person introducing you to someone that you want to know. So we get around that so I wanted to create groups where 100% of the people in the group are great referral sources for you. And the way that we do that, and you know that even before coming into a group. So right now, just to give you a little background, I started this company a little more than about 2.5 years ago, and I have 14 groups in the New York metro area.
Okay.
And before someone visits a group, they know ahead of time that everyone in the group is going to be a great referral source. And the reason they know is because I define the groups by who you call on.
Wow.
So, for example, if you go around the room, so we have these groups at conference tables in law firms and accounting firms and commercial banks. If you go around the table and you say, who's your primary prospect? Everyone would say the same thing. They would say, oh, I call on, for example, I had a group on Wednesday evening. It's only for people that call on companies with revenues that have sales between $10 and $100 million that are located in Westchester or Fairfield counties.
Okay.
So everyone, they go, oh my God, these are my people.
These are the people I'm trying to meet.
You get me.
Isn't that a great idea?
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Yeah, it's a terrific idea.
They think you're in my world.
I know.
They want to, everyone's like, oh, come on, let's give each other a hug.
Right.
It's like you really understand what I'm doing. But more importantly, and the reason that's important is because every one of those people already have clients that have revenues between 10 and 100 million that are located in Westchester and Fairfield County. So everyone goes, oh my God, if I get to know that person, they could share clients. They could introduce me to their client. It's all non-competing professionals. And they also know that every day in their working days, their business development activities are centered around trying to find more clients that are in that sweet spot. 10 to 100 million located in that territory.
Right.
So I have different, that's a B2B group. I have other groups that are purely B2C, ones that just call on high net worth individuals. Same concept applies. I have ones where people in the group, their prospects are going through a life change.
I'm in the Life Changes group.
Right.
It's a terrific group.
Right, so it's,
Absolutely.
marriage, divorce,
Yeah.
Birth of a child, buying a house, changing career, death of a loved one, things like that. So that generally appeals to people where those things, a life change, is a trigger point for buying their product or service.
And it's terrific for me. Just from my experience in the Life Changes group, in addition to getting leads, which was invaluable for me, I also got to meet some really terrific people. Really good people whose hearts are in the right place. So it's not a Shark Tank kind of a thing at all. It's actually very collegial and very collaborative and very comfortable.
Well, we keep the group small. 10 non-competing professionals.
Okay.
We only meet once a month for 90 minutes. So the way that I look at it is if you have a group, let's say the Life Changes group or that B2B group that I described that's in Westchester, Fairfield, I got those people in the room. They're all great referral sources for you, but no one knows each other.
Right.
So my job is, okay, good first step. We got the right people in the room. Now what I have to do, and what we have to do every moment during our agenda, is accelerate the relationship building process between each other. So that we build relationships of trust, and then the high quality referrals just to start to fly around the room. And we do that. It has a couple of benefits. You come to a new group, or you come to any networking group, and it takes a little while to get to know people.
You get acclimated.
Right. Before you trust them enough so you could, light at the end of the tunnel is refer one of your clients to them. That's a big risk.
Exactly.
But that's what we want to do. So what we do is also, since it takes a while, say maybe 2 or 3 or 4 months to get that value of getting that high quality referral, we want to provide value from the moment you step in the room the first day. So the way that we accelerate the relationship building process is these groups are called peer advisory business development groups.
Hang on one second, Jonathan. I want to talk more. We have to come. We're coming up on a break.
Okay.
And you're getting into the how it all works, and I want to focus on that. More on CEO Chat with Jonathan Rosen after these messages.
Be right with you.
Seniors.
Hey, guess what? We're back.
We're back. We are back. Did you notice that?
Yeah, there we go.
Welcome back to CEO Chat. My name is Al Cini.
I'm still Joe Osman.
And I'm so glad you haven't changed. If during a break it's ever somebody else in that seat, I am going to freak out.
There you go.
And we're here with Jonathan Rosen, who has created a terrific system of networking called Collaberex. And during the break, we were talking about where you do this. I know you do it in Connecticut. You've got a Stanford group. You've got upstate New York.
You shouldn't have to memorize this.
I'm working on this. You can just tell us. I know you know because you go to all of them.
People ask me, it's funny, they say, so right now I have 14 groups. They say, do you go to all the groups? And my response is completely truthful. Like, that's the fun part.
Yeah.
I mean, the groups
How
are
do you
great.
organize all this? That seems to be a giant step.
I'm neurotic.
Okay.
He's very good at it.
I'm a spreadsheet guy. I work at it.
There you go.
He's got it down to a system.
Right. There's a lot to do. But that's the behind the scenes stuff. That's the boring stuff. The interesting stuff is what happens in the group. So right now I have a group in Connecticut. I have Stanford, Norwalk, Bridgeport. In Westchester County, I have White Plains and Valhalla. In New Jersey, I have Ridgewood and Summit, actually 2 groups in Ridgewood. And in Manhattan, I have 6 groups. And they're midtown, 1 is downtown.
No, it's terrific. So you want to see his Easy Pass bill. It's got to be interesting. I know. No, I think it's great. And as I mentioned, I've been to a couple of couple of different groups. I spend most of my time in the Life Changes group, but I was also in the Ridgewood group.
Yep.
And to me, the interesting thing is I know that over the 2.5 years you've been doing it, while it started out primarily as a mutual referral system, which is what makes it wonderful, you've added a lot of elements to it because your members have taken you in new directions. Maybe you can talk a little bit about how it's evolved.
Okay, so as you said, we started out as, this is a better way to do referrals. And then we learned along the way that the most efficient way to do referrals is, first of all, 1, don't be in a group with random people.
Right.
So you join a group and I hope you have this like you never know attitude. Oh, you never know. It could be a good group. But if it's unlikely to be a good group, then don't do it. It's a shotgun approach to be random. It's like going on Google and you're looking for golf clubs and you type in sporting equipment.
Right.
Well, you can get a zillion results that have nothing to do with what you're looking for. Be specific. Type in golf clubs. So that our groups are focused where we, as I said, before you go in a group, you know that everyone is in your world. And it's funny when you get new members that come in and sample the group, they all of a sudden they take a deep breath and they go, wow, you're calling on the same people I am. They all start negotiating to have coffee with each other and to get to know each other. So what we do, I was talking about how we what we do to accelerate the relationship building process is it's a peer advisory group. But what do we advise on? We're advising on the reason you're there, which is how do you build your client base within this market that we all share. So in every group, we work on business development skills. So we do things like defining your unique selling proposition, personal SWOT analysis. What are questions you want other people in the group to ask prospective clients to see if they have a need for your services? We've been doing lately, in the last week, I say it's in honor of the Olympics, because I wanted to do an event that was more interesting than curling. What we were doing is a pitch contest where everyone goes around the room 2 minutes and you have to rate. Everyone has to rate each other.
They hold up cards like 5, 9.
1 to 10 on
great.
6 different categories. And we were doing it anonymously, so people don't write their names on it, so they could be brutally honest.
They can be brutally honest, which is what you want. That's the feedback you want.
Right. So some people have gotten zeros in categories.
Okay.
And it's great because it's a safe, honest, confidential environment where everyone can be brutally honest and they can completely mess up their pitch, and it doesn't matter at all. It's just for feedback.
It doesn't make any difference because it's just for feedback. And where else do you get to practice your pitch? On somebody who might not, on somebody who honestly knows what a good pitch is, for one thing, and there's no risk in it.
No.
Right.
I mean, it's all learning.
We're also giving them guidelines on what their pitch should look like and what categories are important. So then we send everyone their results, and actually I send total scores. Oh, you won the gold medal, silver. You know, it's all
So you
all
make it
fun.
entertaining.
No,
It's
it's
all
good. It's
fun
good
and
stuff.
entertaining.
It's great.
And everyone interacts with each other, and it's since it's only 10 people, our groups aren't go around the room and speak individually. It's a group discussion. It's a peer advisory group, and that helps everyone get to know each other so fast.
Yeah.
Right.
And then since they're the right people already, the referrals start to fly. So it's a much more efficient
And you share the
model.
same marketplace, too.
Everyone shares everything. They get
perfect.
each other.
Right.
That is so important. And you know what, for the ones I've been to, I remember I've been to other networking events, and it could take, I don't know, 5 or 10 meetings before you actually start to make connections with people in the traditional way of doing networking. In your way, it takes about 2 meetings
So let me
before
tell
you start making friends.
A typical networking group, in my mind, it's like going to a restaurant. You go in, and this is your traditional networking group. You sit down, they give you the bill.
Right.
You got to pay up front, right? Right? And they say to you, oh, by the way, it's going to take a long time to get the food. You know, it really takes a long time for you to get the result that you were there for. And if you don't like it, it's your own fault.
It's your fault.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what a traditional
That's
networking
it.
group
You're exactly
is.
I know.
Right.
I know. How do you
Because-
come away not feeling bad about yourself?
Because
from something
people
like
go to
that?
these networking groups that they go, you know, once a week in the diner or whatever,
Right.
and that's what they tell them. Pay up front. You have to work the group, get to know each other, and then if it doesn't work for you, it's your own fault.
It's
You
your
didn't
own
do
fault.
it. You didn't do it well enough.
You didn't do it right, and you can't win with that. I mean,
Right.
that's terrible. Now,
they-
your business model is different.
Yeah.
You can attend a meeting for free to begin with,
Yeah.
right? And then after that, you can attend a couple of meetings on a per meeting fee basis.
Right. So the way that I work it is, you attend your first meeting of a group for free. Right. Second meeting, I charge a small fee. I charge $35, and the reason I do it is because I want people to come back that saw some value in it. That really, this was
Sure.
this was
Have a
important to
value
them.
proposition, too.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. After that, we require membership. And first-time members can join for 6 months for $650 or a year for $1,100. If you join any group, you can actually go to all the other group meetings as part of your membership, just as long as there's not a competing member that's already a member of that group. So what I do is people generally will go say, okay, I joined the Life Changes group. And then I would say to them, there's some other groups that there are some great people that
venture capital
overlap
group.
with your, I was just,
For example, yeah.
Right, so I have a group, it's for people that call on venture capital funded companies
Right, okay.
after their post-Series A, and they call on operations executives in those companies. So there are people that can be in one group where that's also a good market for them.
Right.
And I'll say, there's some great people here, just build a relationship with them. So they'll go to the once a month in one, and then they'll go to the other one as often as they can, and it's part of their membership.
So the membership really is can go across a lot of different boundaries.
A lot of you can end up
pigeonhole.
meeting people all over the
Right.
place, and that's
Right.
that's the cool thing about it. Now,
Exactly.
we're coming up on a break, but I just want to point out we're not saying you shouldn't join a chamber of commerce, because some of the members of your group are in fact high-ranking members of chambers of commerce.
Right.
I've met them there.
Yes.
So we're not saying you don't do that. We're just saying this is an alternative to that. But there are some networking systems, Joe, and we've discussed them before. They can be $15,000, $16,000 a year to be a
Right,
member.
exactly.
This is a very low cost of entry, very, very accelerated results. We're going to take a break because it's worked so well for Jonathan. He wants to talk about how he's planning to grow it, and there could be some people out there watching the program who might want to reach out to Jonathan to become a part of this. And we'll be right back after these messages with more CEO Chat. Jonathan Rosen.
Don't go anywhere.
Yeah, don't move. You're on.
Hey, welcome
Look
back.
at that. Look right up there.
Well, welcome back to CEO Chat. I'm Joe Osamendi.
I'm Alcini. And who's this guy?
This is Jonathan Rosen, our
This is
guest.
Jonathan Rosen.
Yes,
welcome to the
I'm telling you,
I'm still here.
It's always fun
And
talking to you.
and
Normally we do it at Eisenberg's over corned beef sandwiches. Like you said, usually I have
Right.
mustard on my tie. This time I have a microphone.
I ordered the one with Russian and coleslaw.
Well,
That's my preference.
We got to
Just
do that
wanna let
again.
everyone know.
Well,
We gotta
I'm
do
getting
that
hungry.
again.
So you
Okay.
got to tell us
Okay.
how did you start this all? Where do you see this all going with new groups?
So I've been building this company for about 2.5 years. Actually, my model's changed. So my oldest group will be 2 years old in May.
Okay.
So that's so it's relatively new. So I guess I should have a birthday party for the group or something like that.
Okay.
Some kind of celebration. So I've built it out to 14 groups now in the New York metro area. And my plan is, over this time really was to prove the concept and show that this is a viable business model that's scalable. And so the way it works, my model is, think of it, it's about $1,100 per, besides other income per person, 10 people in a group. So the value of each group to a business owner is, between $10,000 and $15,000 per group, right? So what I'm looking to do is, since I'm in the New York metro area and I'm going to these groups, there are territories I'm looking to scale to other territories. So I'm looking actually, starting now, for people that are interested in this model where something like this resonates with them, and they can see here's this proven concept that they can be a part of in other communities. So I'm looking for people in the Hartford, Danbury area, in South Jersey, Philly, Baltimore, Washington, Boston. So if anyone knows anyone that's interested.
We've got, according to our most recent statistics, there are 8,000 people who watch live,
Okay.
350,000 people who watch over a period of 30 days.
Right.
And if anybody out there has a kind of a facilitative nature and you're good with people and like people, then Collaberex is a terrific ground floor opportunity, a brand new business model,
Right.
and a completely new slant on networking. And at the end of the program, Jonathan's going to tell you how you can reach him. But maybe you can talk about your business model and how you'd I don't want to say franchise because it's not exactly
it
that.
start?
But
Right.
what's a business model like for a partner that you might bring on?
Right. So I've done all the legwork and everything, and created all the content and created all the agendas, and have a framework for what groups should look like, what groups work well, what groups haven't worked so well, what are slower, and how well they develop. So in other words, there are certain B2B groups, there are certain B2C groups. So I've defined all that and created all this framework. And as I'm going along, everything is documented like a franchise would, right? So the way that I view this is it's probably going to be a revenue share model. We haven't quite decided on exactly how, but I've done all the hard part. I've done everything and created this system and model, and have been around long enough that I have the metrics so I can tell people how long it takes groups to develop. And so I'll start a brand new group. I have a brand new group starting in Ridgewood, New Jersey, that's meeting for the first time on Tuesday. And people are going to come to that group and they're going to look at me, go, well, what's this going to be? And I'll say, why don't you come to my New York City group and you'll see the future. You'll see what this group's going to be like 6 months from now.
6 months from now.
Right.
What it's going to develop into.
Right. Because what we try to do is the model, the way that it works, is if you get a foundational group of members in each group, and that foundational group can be 4 people,
Right.
then they realize it's in their own best interest to grow the group and invite like-minded people so that 4 becomes 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
So you can start out with just a couple people and grow
Just
from
a
there.
couple of people that are interested in this focused model.
And they'll
or
bring
that-
their friends in. Often they'll bring their people in that they know who are good candidates for that group, and you'll get, or other groups
Right.
potentially.
Right. So
And,
that's how they
how
build.
much fun, I know how much fun they are. Nobody's going to believe me because
Right.
Why should they?
Exactly. but you tell me how much fun they are. How much fun is it to facilitate?
Well, you
one
know,
of
it's
these
interesting. One of the things that we have these, first of all, we have these guiding principles.
Right.
And one of the guiding principles, the primary guiding we're all there to increase our
Right.
client base. But the primary guiding principle is one thing, one goal for every group, which is that I call these groups kind of a we've got your back group.
Right.
And the reason I call it that is because if you join the group, it's your responsibility to be out for everyone's success.
Sure.
So if you join the group, our only goal with every group is that all the individual members of the group will succeed based on the collaborative efforts of the group.
Right.
It's the group's responsibility to make sure you succeed, and your responsibility to make sure that everyone else does.
Sure.
Wow, that is
Great
So,
model.
but it's not just words. So we do things that make people a little uncomfortable, but they work so well. So one of the things we do is we say, okay, it's our responsibility to make sure you succeed. What does that mean? That you achieve your goals? Well, we can't do that unless we know what your goals are.
Right.
So we actually have an agenda item that we do quarterly where we sit down, we write down our goals on a piece of paper. We write down 30-day goals, 6-month goals, 3-year goals, action steps you plan to take to accomplish those goals.
Wow.
And then we split up into smaller groups. We get feedback, and people say things like, really? You know, this is nothing. You know, you have to set the bar higher, or you
Right.
set the bar too high. Or those action steps, you really think, you know, so we give a lot of constructive feedback.
That's great.
And then we set what we call accountability partners.
Okay.
So if you're in a group and I'm your accountability partner, it's my primary responsibility to make sure that you achieve your goals, and your primary responsibility to make sure I achieve mine, and the group's responsibility to make sure that we do our jobs with each other.
With each other.
Right,
That's
yeah,
So
exactly.
we'll set up a weekly 5-minute call. How you doing? You know,
Okay, we're going to have to wrap it up.
Okay.
And I'll tell you, this has been the quickest half hour I think we've ever
Absolutely.
done. And you would be a terrific Collaberex group facilitator.
Thank you.
Just because of your nature. And it is a lot of fun. I've been to them. It's fun to be a member. It's fun to be a facilitator. And we've gotten to do
Great.
some personal branding at
Yes.
one or two of these
Oh,
too. It
cool.
was a lot of fun, and we made some great connections with it. So here's your chance. We got people out there who might want to join one of your groups. We have people out there who might want to start a Collaberex group. Tell them, look right into your camera and tell them how to reach you.
okay. So anyone, I was going to give you either my wife's cell phone or Al's, but I decided not to. So anyone that wants to reach me that's interested in this model, that wants to sample a group in the New York metro area, who's interested in this concept for another territory, please contact me through my email. It's Jonathan, Jonathan, @collaberex.com, COLLABEREX.com. And I hope to hear from you.
Yeah, and it's a terrific website. You can learn a lot about Collaberex just by browsing the website. And
Right.
Jonathan, has just been great having you
This was
today on
great
CEO
fun.
Chat.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. And thank all of you for joining us today on CEO Chat. My name is Al Cini,
I'm Joe Osamendi.
and we hope you have a great weekend. And we'll see you again on a future CEO Chat.
Yeah, be safe out there with the bad weather and everything. Come back next week. We would love to have you again. Thank you.
Brilliant.